Good morning everybody, and a warm welcome to Berringer, and I have a layout update for you on this Sunday morning. And the main theme is going into storage, and also we have some new additions to show you. But before we get onto all of that, I just wanted to show you this tree that I have going on here. It was from the batch of trees that I bought earlier, and I decided to make this last one up and plant it here for now. It hasn't actually been rooted yet. I just put it here just to see if I could live with it and see if I think it was too big or too small, or whether I liked it here. I was just trying to find a home for it, and I thought that could well be possibly be a home for it, and also just to bring the layout and the town scene to life a bit by adding this tree. Also, I've got a number of new vehicles. I'm just trying to build up the town with vehicles and make it busy. The car parks that I built here are still devoid of cars, and I'm trying to make it a bit more busier, and this one here as well. So also this one was quite bare as well, so what I've decided to do is I've bought a few more cars as I've been going along, and so now this little mini car park starts to get a bit more busier. But I'm just trying to create that impression that it is a busy town. So we have the lorry that was parked running along the front here has now been moved to the back, and that kind of gives the impression that it's busy from the back end there. One of the new vehicles I have is this Oxford die-cast Ford Cortina, and it's very pretty, and I like it a lot actually. I've been after one for a little while. I managed to find this one. I did find a police car one, but I wasn't quite sure if it was fitting quite right. So this tends to be a sort of mid to late 70s kind of vehicle. This layout's based sort of around the late 70s, 80s and stuff, so this car would have been around, albeit probably not so many of them. But nonetheless, trying to source more 80s vehicles tends to be a bit tricky, but I love it to pieces anyway. Whilst I'm here, the Rover, I just kind of got that, is also a new vehicle. It's another little one that I've added to the layout, and that's another pretty one. Again, it's a car that I'm used to seeing around when I was a kid. So that's really nice. If I just show you both of them from the other end, you can see one from the front and one from the back. And then you can see it's actually quite a nice view from the viewfinder actually, and I think the tree works out quite nicely there, so I may end up planting it there. The tree's actually been there for a few days now. Like I said, it hasn't been planted or anything. I've just kind of seen to test it, see whether or not I can live with it, so I just thought I'd leave it there for a few days. The other vehicle I have is this one here. Let's just get to it, which is this little Jensen Interceptor, and I've got it in a beige with the canvas roof, or vinyl roof I think it's more like, and that's another pretty little car that I managed to get, little sports car. I'll show you it from the front. Yeah, I remember seeing these around, they're well pretty. So yeah, I really like that. And then my last road vehicle is, if I can sort of getting up close and personal, is this little Vauxhall Viva. This is a red version. I have seen a blue version. In fact, my cousin used to own a blue version of this Vauxhall Viva. So that's really nice. I'm really kind of happy with that. And that is about it for the road vehicles. We also have one new addition to the loco fleet, and surprise surprise, it's another 37, and this one is also a one from my bargain model centre in the Intercity mainline livery. It is a Trains class 37423, and if I take you up close and personal. Sir Murray Morrison. And I've been after this one as well, but again, I got it for a number of reasons. Pardon my shaky hand syndrome. The main reason was the price was right. Because what I'm going to be using this for is I'm going to use actually more for freight than I am going to use for coaches, and it's very pretty, and I've been eyeing it up for a little while as well. But as it turns out, it just turns out to be another one of those £50 bargainous class 37s that he was trying to sell off for cheap. And that brings my recent additions to 37s to 4, and basically for free, 37s is equal to like one new Hornby loco, which I find incredible, just to put things into perspective, which I find to be incredible value. And the detailing is really good. I mean, it's got lighting in both directions. I've got to put some like detailing on the front of it because none of the detailing's been put on it. But even the fan, if you look at it, is really nicely modelled and really nicely detailed. It's not just sort of moulded and all the rest of it. It's actually separate, and it looks really nice and it's well detailed. So I'm really pleased with it. I mean, and for this sort of price, I mean, a new Batman 37, I've said this before, a new Batman 37 these days, or a new loco these days in any sort of form, is now going to start costing you about £130, £140. And I just find it a bit too expensive, to be honest with you, because I'm trying to do this layout on a budget and all the rest of it. And when you're trying to encourage new people into the hobby and you find out how much it costs just for a loco being £140, when they could probably buy something else, and they just think, well, I'd rather do that. And I don't think it's very good for the hobby that locos are so expensive. So, but anyway, that's just me and my little soapbox. But I love my 37. It's beautiful, and it's going to be used very, very regularly. So here we are at the storage sidings of the mini fiddle yard. Now, I did show you this before, but I just wanted to show you before I put the bridge section up, because I've managed to wire it up. It's now fully functional and working now, these 3 lines. Well, I say that, in truth, I've actually got one bit to wire up on this one, not actually on this side, but on the bridge side of it. And what I've done here is I've created this sort of just a bit out of wood, and I just got these plug and play, if I just show you, these follow plugs, and they just basically sit in there, and then all you do is plug the other end straight into this box, basically the various ones into the various lines, and obviously the other end of the plug is actually on the bridge section. So these are now all wired up and they're all working. So I'll put it up and then I'll show you what it's like. So here we are at with the bridge section up, and if I sort of spin you around, you can sort of see how it runs down and how it all fans out and feeds down into one. So we've used the copper clad sleeper system once again here, and as you can see, this one actually still needs to be soldered up. That's one of the ones I haven't done, but I was just testing it earlier. So the rails just need to be soldered to the copper clad sleepers, as I've done on this one and on that one as well. And you can see that if you use this system, I've said this before, you need to score it in order to make sure that there's no shorts between that side and that side, because otherwise the electricity will flow all the way across and give you a short. So that's one of the things that I've done here. You see how it lines up onto this one, but I have done this before where I've tried to use this and it hasn't been unsuccessful, so I might have to remove these 2 sleepers in order to ensure that the lines stay connected properly in terms of they line up correctly, not in terms of power but just in alignment, because over time I was just seeing if I can, they are aligned and they will go over. It's just that there's a bit of movement sometimes, and you can see that there's a bit of movement there, whereas there isn't on with the copper clad sleepers because it's actually soldered directly. And the copper clad sleepers, there's just a tiny little strip, and then it's, as you can see, there's a little thickness where it's been mounted onto card to give it the same height and profile as the rail on the plastic sleeper. And basically, as you can see, the box underneath, it was connected to each individual rail all the way across. Oops. And then on this side it's exactly the same, except with the other connection on the other end, and then they basically plug into it to create the connection between this section and that section there. So what we have is, if I take you down, as you can see, basically the mini footyard starts here, and again, if I do it like this, we have the copper clad sleepers all the way through both sides, so now they're solid, they're not going anywhere, and the trains run over that fine. It's all been tested. The latches just ensure alignment as well as security to make sure that it doesn't move anywhere. So that provides, there's one there and there's one there. It's not proper tidy or anything yet, but that's something I'm going to do. Again, as you can see here, the brakes have been made along the middle to ensure that there isn't any shorts between the two. On these points here, I've just used the manual points that I was doing before, which is one there and another one there, so that's for that point as well. And as you take down this side, you can see just sort of how it fans out. So if I just take you through the process, you've got this point here which runs into two lines. Those two lines are these two lines running next to the VEP. So basically you can have a local coming down this line, this is the down, that's the up, and basically it converges into this point here, and then from this point here it can then, because it's all in single line, it can then go into basically any of the fiddle yard sidings that we have available, and then after, when it goes out, it can then just go back out on the up line. So that makes the running correct. So that's how that's been done. We have these 2 points are hardwired. There's no connection because it doesn't need to be. It's just enough cable to allow the bridge section to lower. Something you need to bear in mind if you do this sort of thing, is to give enough plane to the wiring to make sure that when you fold it down or fold it up that you've got enough plane of wiring. So that's just hardwired between that point and that point. We then have this side in here, which was going to be 2, but as it turns out it's ended up being 1. But I'm happy enough with 1, it's fine. It's got a isolating point down here, switch there, which caused me a 2-hour delay when putting this together because I suffered a short somewhere, and basically it was my own fault. It's a rookie mistake, and I guess I get the Donut of the Year award for that one, because in the process of wiring up all of these feeds on this side and on the other join, where basically the wiring has to be on one rail and then the other rail, I did actually the same for the isolating point, and that was causing the short on the switch. Rather than putting a brake here and a brake there, I was putting one brake here and one brake there, and that was causing the short, and I hadn't worked it out, and it took me ages. And anyway, it's done now, it works. it's all running. So I'm really pleased with that. So if I take you, well, if I just sort of raise you, what we have operationally, I don't know if I can, you've probably seen New Shot in the distance where my microwave is, but basically I can run a train from New Shot, and in fact I'll take you there and then I'll explain it to you what we can do. So here we are at New Shot, and it just means that a lot of the operational interest on the layout has improved substantially, in terms of me operating it and also running it, in terms of running videos. Now you've got my Diddy 25 in front of you with its short rake of China clay wagons, and basically before, in terms of freight, this could only go, because we didn't have a fill yard or anywhere for it to go to, this could only run, say, from here to Berringer and back, so it couldn't really go off scene. So now what it can do is it can take this China clay set wagons down to Berringer, where at Berringer it can be reversed and ready to be going back out into the mini China clay work, into the mini filler yard, and basically go off scene. So basically now it looks like it's leaving the layout, it's got somewhere to go, so it will take it down to Berringer. The layout, the wagons will then be removed from the 25, so the 25 can be reversed, put back on the other end, and then take it off scene into the mini filler yard. And in terms of this point work along here, it's the same, that you can bring the China clay works, drop them off here, have the 25 just sort of uncouple, unhook round, run round, back it on, and then reverse it into the China clay works. So from that point of view, we've now got freight that can now leave the China clay and off scene to the mini filler yard. Also we have obviously the regular shuttle service between New Shot, Offord on the Hill, being here, and Berringer via the branch line. We also have services also which can be provided by the Moorwood shuttle, or the Berringer shuttle, whichever you prefer to call, using the little DMU just between Moorwood and Berringer. So we've got that as a service. The SEPs and the VEPs are currently only running as far as Berringer at the moment until the other filler yard has been put together, but that hasn't been done as yet. But once that's done, then obviously these two will run as a shuttle as well between the main filler yard and here. So that's one of the things I can't do just yet. But there's still a lot of operational interest, because now I can now use these two lines to run from the mini filler yard out towards Berringer station itself. Now, one of the things I was going to do, if I just sort of take you where you can see sort of what I've done, I haven't done any retaining wall work or anything like that. If I take you back here, originally I'd mentioned to you that I was going to put a three-way point here, and I had a number of points that I hadn't used that I'd removed from various sections and various parts of the layout which I hadn't used. And the main filler yard, which hasn't been, I've sort of worked out that it's about 6 feet and that it's only going to be able to take about 5-6 coaches. So if I put the three-way point here instead of this two-way point, basically the length would have been longer than the main filler yard, and there wasn't any real point in doing that, because if I put longer trains here they wouldn't fit into the main filler yard. So I decided to do it this way round and save myself some money on the three-way point, which I'm going to have to buy anyway to maximise the filler yard at the other end. So this is a kind of a way of just kind of like whatever fits here is going to end up fitting in the main filler yard over the far end. Otherwise this side is going to be too long, and there's no point having, say, 7 coaches here if the 7 coaches aren't going to fit in the main filler yard. Other operational interests include this 47 mail train, which can now run direct to the mini fiddle yard and back. So that's good because that can go off scene as well. So that'd be good. So that'll give the impression that it's gone off somewhere and it'll come back with another load. And one of the things I'd like to do also is possibly have one of these coaches on the back of it be removed and shunted, say, towards this siding where the DMU is on the right, and then basically take maybe one of those coaches up, say the 25 or the 33, up to New Shot as a little mail service, and use the points up at New Shot as another way of bringing freight to New Shot. So that's something else, that's another bit of operational interest. Also, if I just take you further down, a few other bits and pieces I've been doing. This is my bruised and battered Class 60 which came back from eBay, and I've had to do some repairs to it, but basically it is up and running. It's still missing a horn up here which wasn't provided, so I'm a bit cheesed off about that, but I can probably try and get some from an exhibition or something. But it's been, the bottom has been repainted and it's now looking much better, and it's looking in pretty much as condition as I sent it out. It's just a bit of a pity that it got damaged through eBay, so like I said, buyer beware. Another little bit that I've done, if I just spin you up and over. My 73's had a bit of a repaint as well, so it's looking a bit more tidier. I think the weathering I did was pretty rubbish, to be honest with you, so I redid that. And one of the other things I'm considering doing is I've got this Nightwing fueling point kit here that I built, and I'm going to consider reusing that here as a stabling point. What I'm going to be doing here is I've got a couple of points, so I'm thinking of possibly just running a point off of this line here and running that to the stabling, to the fueling point there, so to have somewhere for that to go. So I'm thinking of doing that, so I can make use of the space that I have here that I created in the first place, where the signal box used to be, and also give me another little bit of function and a little, like I said, so I can make use of the fueling point that I built. So anyway, that's about it. So I think it's enough for me waffling on. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of a running session at some point within the next few days or so, to basically, if I just put you down here for a minute, there you go. Yeah, so I'll hopefully have a running session within the next few days, just to sort of show hopefully the mini fiddle yard running, and show the operational interests that it can have and that it can provide, and hopefully it will provide some new interesting shots and actually some freight for a change on New Shot and Berringer and all the rest of it. So take care now, and thanks for watching. Feel free to comment and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon when I have a further layout update. So bye for now.